Hey, it's Alice, and you've got my channel, The Witch in the Glen. I'm so glad you're here. Hit the like button and subscribe if you like the title and you like the vibe. Oh gosh, that was not on purpose. You can undo it later if you want. So I want to talk to you about feng shui and why this is like such a very basic but beautiful way of looking at your life and channeling the energy in your external life. So, feng shui is this system in Taoism that talks about the philosophy of energy and how it flows. So this philosophy, this energy, they refer to it as qi, which you can spell with a Q or a CH. Pro tip. So qi is the fundamental energy that dictates anything. It's the energy that makes you feel like you want to go do something. It is the energy that makes you feel turned on. It is the energy that makes that assists with directing paths in public spaces and likewise in private spaces. So this is like, there are these streams of energy that are created by different pathways, and so the energy along that path accumulates in a certain fashion depending on where the path is, for example. So that's like a sort of deep level example, but like the feng shui when it comes to your home, which is I think what a lot of people would be most interested in hearing about first. Feng shui for your home, it's very much like, it's a little like Marie Kondo. She uses some Taoist philosophy in her philosophy. So look her up if you feel so inclined. So everything has a vibrational frequency. Everything is energy, and energy is just a bunch of waves that look like particles when we observe them, which means we acknowledge them, which means that we process them with our energy. That's when things become particles, and they enfold in and out of the folding and enfolding in the quantum field is your energy and these observed particles. So, and that is what gives us these forms that look like what we look like. And as we quote unquote age, our bodies tell a story of the energy that has passed through your body in certain ways, and how you might not be processing things according to parts of your body, which parts of your body might be predicted to have disease or illness, and how the lines on your face develop. They all tell a story. We sort of have that intuitive knowledge, but this is really about how qi shapes everything in our environment. So there are different, in a lot of kind of new agey, whatever you want to call it, groups, there people, spirituality, people do, and even in Catholicism, people do like energy clearing of a space. So there's this like human level acknowledgement that everything has a certain energetic vibe to it. And they, even in some of these religions or spiritual backgrounds, they actually ascribe it to different spirits or different demons, and that's a way of describing a bunch of different energy that's all in the same kind of imprint. And so which that like hangs out around your house and can get trapped and formed in certain ways. Every time you have a conversation in your house, your words and the sound coming out, every time you sing, every time you play music, it affects the qi in your home. So you might not be surprised that music that you love is one of the highest vibe ways to clear your space. If you don't listen to high vibe music, then maybe that's not a great idea. It's stuff that brings you down, like, but listening to beautiful music and music that you love is a great way of clearing up the energy in your room. And see, everything is energy. And all energy is fundamentally the same. And the only thing that makes it seem different to us is that we perceive this certain spectrum of light, of waves. So we only perceive from here to here, but in reality, there's an infinite number of waves that completely fill our space, as it were. And then also it transcends dimensions. So the quantum field exists in a different dimension than we are. It's all around us, but it's a different dimension because we cannot perceive it and we cannot measure it. It is in there. It turns into complete improbability when we get to quantum level. The quantum field. So that's a little bit about what this has to do with science, maybe, because it's interesting that in religion they use it, where they'll do, an exorcism of a person, or of a space. You can exorcise a space. You do blessings of a home. Jewish people have mezuzahs on the outside of their doors to clear the energy. So one of the things, so within feng shui, there are all kinds of like brilliant tips that just like intuitively make sense, but you just probably never thought about it. And so feng shui goes into all these details about how to set up your living space and your environment so as to have a conducive environment for high vibe energy that's always going to keep you in the right energy for whatever you're trying to do, however you're trying to be in your space. So some general things are like, don't keep, while I'm talking about doorways that doorways are portals from one, which means it's from one state of mind to another, which is like moving, diverting dimensions in those higher levels. It's changing the energy space. And so if you have thresholds, if you have doors, particularly the outside doors, you might want to put something there that cleanses the energy, that makes you feel connected to like a very, Zen part of you, for lack of a better terms, and has nothing to do with Taoism, but it's sort of like one of the ways that we talk about the same concepts. So the main goal, a big thing with feng shui is that within your home, you want to make sure that the energy from the front door and through and into the rooms around your house is free flowing. You want it to be as natural to walk through your space as you can possibly get it. So don't put a bunch of stuff blocking the front door. Don't put a bunch of stuff, that came out harsher than I meant. Don't put a bunch of stuff like in walkways. Don't put things along the floor in hallways, and don't put crowd thresholds with furniture. And I'm looking at a chair that I have sitting on a threshold that I'm going to go move in a minute. It's stuff like that you've never really thought about, or you've never really put two and two together with this stuff. But then it's like, oh, that totally makes sense, because it's like, okay, here's what happens is you walk through the front door and you immediately see like a stack of mail that's going to make you feel like, oh, look at all these bills. And it puts you in this, it's bad feng shui because it changes your mentality and puts you in kind of a like low-key stress. And this is not even if you acknowledge the mail or interact with it. It can be like the mail is sitting there and you're just passing by, and it's poor feng shui because your subconscious, your perception is always perceiving everything around you. It's just that your attention goes in different places. And when your perception like lands on something in your environment, it is subconsciously giving you these programmed states of consciousness that come in. So you have this state of consciousness. This is not David Hawkins. I'm just talking generally about states of consciousness, which are different than emotions, but emotions kind of correlate too. But there's a state of consciousness, for example, that might be shame-based because there's something about money in that stack of mail, or there's something about, there's a test result, or it's just a bunch of junk mail, but I can't even find what's in it, what's meant for me. And even if there's a card, then it's something that I'm gonna have to like call somebody and tell them how much I appreciate it. It's like I can never say enough about a nice thing in the mail. And so, but you might have this stack of all of the energy of all of those thoughts that you can think out loud if you wanted to, but your subconscious already has that information in it. So as you pass by that stack of mail, think about the subconscious program that immediately is turned on, activated, that it's like stack of mail, stack of papers, stress, shame, it's anxiety, etc., etc. And so as you pass by, it is interrupting the flow of your chi. So part of feng shui is putting the things that, first of all, probably going through your mail, but just putting that aside. So don't put stuff in doorways. A big thing is to keep motion, some kind of motion in your rooms is good. So that's why they have the little like cat clocks, and it's really good to have those. And that's why they're lucky. They just contribute to the chi because it's pleasing to your perception to have something that's like steadily moving around. And then I like to use light moving around. I have a bunch of those things that like, project like auroras and like spots of light. And it's like I live in a disco, but like it feels really nice. Like it like sort of brightens the space as it moves around. And even when it's stationary, it's like all this vibrant color that fills my space. And it doesn't like make my living room like blue in the daytime, but it just kind of warms up the lighting and the atmosphere. It somehow just makes it a little bit happier. So things like that like are things that you'll come to yourself if you start employing the general philosophy of increasing the flow of chi within your home. And so one big thing I like is that cloudy windows are bad feng shui. And you know why? Because windows are seen as the windows to the soul. It's like the eyes of your house are the windows. And when you have foggy windows, that's bad feng shui. And so it's recommended that when it's a really great meditative practice to connect your chi, connect back with like with chi, is to stand outside and use a hose and clean your windows. And that's like a really recommended way to get your thoughts straight and like get your emotions right. And it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. It makes sense. Like I got so into this because it's like you can then like start inferring. I mean, you then start noticing it, and as you adapt your home, it really does feel so much better. You're not supposed to put a mirror across from a doorway. I think I used to do that all the time, like hang a mirror right there when you go in and out, because it's like, oh, you need to like check your hair or something. But don't do that, because when you open the door, it reflects you back, and that is like bad energy to have like a reflection of you pop up. And it does, even though it's reflecting the outdoors, it's like this automatic like kind of startling thing, even if it's subconsciously. Like it just like starts up all these programs when you want to just come in and feel like, oh, here I am. Like you're not needing to check your hair every single time you walk through your front door. Like that's something that like makes you feel a bad feng shui. Having a scale, it makes you pass by it, and then it makes you feel guilty about blah, 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 blah. And it makes you feel like, I mean, the guilt about like, I'm not weighing myself. Like, and all those little subconscious thoughts contribute to your chi at any given moment. So let me think. what else? So I said water features are a big one. So if you can have flowing water, especially in certain parts of your house, such as the front door, by the way, like near a little like fountain by your front door is very, like across from the door is very, it's recommended because that area of the house is seen as having very quick feng shui, because you need to come in the front door and be able to like quickly move out of the way, and it should be kind of natural the way that you move from the front door. So you come in the front door and there's like a little fountain there with a pleasant sound. It immediately like helps you to feel calmer in that energy that otherwise helps you to, it facilitates you being able to get out of the door. So cool, right? You're supposed to put, there is a map of how your house is can be laid out, so you can look that up, or I'll do another video talking about it. But there are recommendations like so it has the house, all of the areas of your house divided into 9 areas. So the area by your entry and front door is the area for travel related things, special people related things, and what's the other one? Travel, people. Oh, wait, I put it over there. Okay, travel, people, and I'll think of the other ones in a minute. No, I'm gonna grab it. But in your bedroom, you're only supposed to you're supposed to have everything in sort of 2, because it's supposed to bring in relationships. And same, there's relationships at like part of your house where likewise you're supposed to do 2s of everything. You're supposed to set up, if you're wanting a partner, if you're trying to have a life with a partner, you set up your home so that it accommodates 2 people in the bed, like things like that. Having double sinks therefore is like pretty good feng shui for the relationship aspect of your home. You're not supposed to have cacti in the rooms where you relax, because there's a subconscious like association that we have with like pain and being kind of startled and all these things that come along with the subconscious thought of like cactus right there. And they are said to speed up the energy. They speed up cacti do, because they're more of a fire, and the fire end of the energetic spectrum. They're in that element, and so the place to put cacti in your home is actually near the front door, because it facilitates the energy moving through. Same with water. It's like the flow is like a representational energetic calling to chi itself and how it flows, because chi flows exactly like water. It's the same energy that flows water, that brings water along everywhere it goes. That's the same energy that's being stimulated in your home by this flow. So if you can get your flow right in your house, it really can change things. There's other stuff, like you put your career to the left when you come into the house. And there's also, so that would be like where you would hang, like if there's an office there, or there's like, you can put a desk. That's why desks in the front hallway are sort of a common traditional place to put a desk before every home started having offices. So you can hang your diplomas on like that side. In the bathroom, you're not supposed to have cool colors, because it makes it too stark, and the ocean is actually evocative of subconscious associations with like the recesses of your mind, the shadow work. And so you're supposed to warm up your bathroom and have more like soft oranges, soft yellows, things like that. So what else? In the kitchen, if you have the option, if you're ever looking at places and you need like I mean, it's not a big deal. There's should not be a stove across from a sink, because the energy of fire and the energy of water cancel each other out. So that's not, it's like, you don't want energy of water when you're cooking. It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, and you don't put like ocean stuff in the kitchen likewise. What's another one? Oh, this is one, like, before I ever started being like a person who talks about crystals, I got really obsessed with, like, you can buy like chandelier crystals on Amazon in like sets of 12 and stuff. And for like $15, you can get like 20 of the crystals that go on chandeliers. And so these are, you hang them in your windows. If you have any direct light, you hang them in your windows, and it makes rainbows like all over your room. And it's something that you don't really think about when there's just like one rainbow in your house and you're like, oh yeah, there's a rainbow. But when you put let me tell you, when you put a bunch of crystals in your window, it's like this beautiful light that is not only reflected in the window by the facets of those chandelier crystals, which are cut, by the way, exactly to reflect light in a very beautiful way. And so when you're looking at the window, it brightens up the energy in the window, and that feels good. And then all the rainbows around your house, like, how cool is that? And then they move with the sun, so they're always in different places. It just kind of keeps the energy, like, rainbows are a very cleansing type of energy. So because they're like white light, fractalized basically, and white light is the most healing of the lights, of the visible spectrum. So stuff like a loose cabinet hinge. Like, these are the things, I was trying to have a feng shui day today, like, and I've just been thinking about this a lot. But one thing that's been, it's been months, and my cabinet I just needed to get a Phillips head and like turn and screw like a quarter of an inch on the top of the cabinet. And it's been like crooked, like just a little crooked for like a couple inches or an inch. And I haven't fixed that in like 4 months, and my house was like redesigned like right before I moved. I mean, very minimally, but right before I moved in. And like, that is really bad feng shui. I just got cut off and I can't remember the rest of my sentence. But some other things that are poor feng shui are, if you're picking a home, it is best to avoid living on a steep hill, because it creates quickly moving chi, which is this subtle feeling of like this whizzing by of life. It's like it's very drying of the chi, and that is supposed to be around your home. Another one is living on a cul-de-sac. They collect energy, and it's sort of like in a stream, like you get the eddies of energy in these cul-de-sacs. I lived on a cul-de-sac road when I was growing up, and it was really lovely, but I lived like kind of far down, and all the houses were really off the street. So I keep thinking that maybe that's not exactly the same, because we would always go play in the cul-de-sac and it was fun. Living in an area or, an entire community that has extremely circuitous, winding streets that are, especially if they have similar names, like that is really poor feng shui, because it just confuses all the chi, and then people are driving along and getting really frustrated, and those energies are diffused all around you as you whiz along. So the more that you can improve your spaces with all these types of tips, the more you're gonna just feel like this relaxation come over you, that as more of an underlying low-key relaxation that you didn't really recognize was possible. And what's cool too is like all these little tweaks make sense intuitively, and it actually like helped me, learning about feng shui actually helped me to understand what energy is and like what we're talking about when we talk about energy. And I recognize that everything is energy, but like, you know, how the like new agey or quantum physics people talk about, like, or new agey people talk about how everything's energy and it's all around us. And in Taoism they call it chi, like I said, but in Star Wars it's the Force. But it's the same energy that's all around us that like collects in certain places when there's really good energy. You know, you think about the different buildings in town, places you go, like how the feng shui balances. You can also look at the landscapes and see what would be like a good like type of hill to put your you know, you have your home on like sort of a, you know, you're not supposed to be below the street, you're supposed to be slightly above the street with a nice like gentle slope. You're not supposed to have a bunch of stairs at your front door. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I think that's, research it, it's really cool, or just like write down these examples, because I think it, you know, like I said, it's sort of the type of stuff that you can start inferring. And it will really improve your life. So, like or unlike, as needed. Bye.